Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a really thought-provoking question. What truly makes a good person versus a bad person?
Right.
And, the answer might surprise you. It kind of challenges some pretty ingrained ideas we have about success and achievement.
And even character itself, yeah.
Our source material for this is an ancient text, the Sappurisasuttaṃ. It's a discourse from the Buddha given to monks or bhikkhus back in Savatthi at the Jetavana monastery. And our mission really is to unpack how even qualities we think are positive accomplishments, even spiritual stuff can actually become pitfalls.
Yeah, traps.
And what the ultimate kind of surprising measure of good character really turns out to be.
And this text offers a remarkably direct lens, I think. It really pushes us to look at our own tendencies, comparisons, self-judgment, how we kind of unconsciously rank ourselves and others based on things that are, maybe pretty superficial when you get down to it.
So let's get into it. The Buddha starts by laying out the characteristics of the asappurisa. That's the bad person or maybe ignoble person.
Right.
And then immediately contrasts them with the sappurisa, the good or noble person. It's a very clear back and forth.
Like a mirror, yeah. And the defining thing about the asappurisa across almost all these categories is this relentless tendency they have.
Which is?
They boast about their own qualities, whatever they perceive them to be, and then this is crucial, they disparage others for not having them.
Okay. So it's not just having the quality, it's weaponizing it almost.
Exactly. It's how they relate to what they have or achieve. They use it as a tool for feeling superior.
Okay, so let's start where the text starts. External circumstances, social standing, that kind of thing.
Right.
So the text says the asappurisa, the bad person, if they happen to be of high birth, ukikula, they'll basically announce it. I am of high birth. These other monks, they're not.
And they use that to put others down.
Yeah, exactly. And the same thing applies if they come from a really wealthy family, mahabhagakula, or one with, abundant resources, or abhagakula. They leverage it.
Self-praise, disparaging others, it's the pattern.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The twist with the sappurisa, the good person. They reflect completely differently. They think something like, okay, high birth, that doesn't actually make greed, hatred, or delusion go away.
Which is the real goal, right? The inner transformation.
Exactly. They understand that true commendation, real worth, comes from being someone who practices rightly according to the Dhamma, lives in line with its principles.
So they just don't use their high birth or wealth or whatever to praise themselves or put others down. It's irrelevant to the real work.
Yeah.
And what's so striking right away is that pivot. It's not saying external advantages are bad in themselves. They might even give you opportunities.
Sure.
But the text is crystal clear. They don't make you good. The focus shifts entirely inward.
The getting rid of those defilements, greed, hatred, delusion.
That's the true measure. Liberation, not your lineage or your bank balance.
So from those external things, the text then moves on. It looks at recognition, material gains, even spiritual efforts themselves.
This is where conceit can get even more subtle, maybe.
Seems like it. So the asappurisa, the bad person, they'll boast if they're well-known or famous. Yado yasasi. Hey, I'm famous. These others, not so much. Or if they're good at getting the requisites for monastic life, robes, food, lodging, medicine. Again, it becomes fuel for self-praise and belittling others.
It's the same trap, isn't it? Just a different wrapper.
Yeah.
And the sappurisa, the good person, understands this. Fame gains. They don't purify the mind. They don't get rid of the root problems.
So their focus just stays steady.
On that consistent, proper practice, living the Dhamma, it's not about the applause or the perks, it's the inner state.
And this pattern, it just keeps going. It extends even to things that seem really virtuous, things you'd think should be praised.
Like what?
Like being learned bala, bahusuto, or really knowing the monastic discipline, viniharo, or being a good Dhamma speaker, dhammakathiko.
So even respected roles or skills.
Right. The asappurisa uses these accomplishments to puff themselves up and put others down. I know the discipline, they don't. I can teach, they can't.
Wow.
But the good person, they recognize that even these really important achievements, they don't automatically lead to freedom from greed, hatred, and delusion.
The focus remains the same.
Unwavering commitment to actually living the Dhamma, not just knowing about it or talking about it.
That raises such an important point, doesn't it? What's the subtle danger here? It's obviously not the learning or the teaching itself, though it can be great things.
Right.
The danger is the conceit, that little bit of pride that can sneak in.
Mm-hmm.
The text is showing us that real virtue isn't about the label you wear, learned one, disciplined one. It's about the internal state it actually fosters.
Does it lead to genuine inner purification?
Or does it just feed that subtle sense of, I'm better than them?
And it gets even more pointed. The text delves into practices that look like the height of asceticism, really pious stuff.
Okay, like what kind of practices?
Well, the asappurisa will boast if they live out in the forest, aranyanko, or wear robes made from rags, basukaliko, or only eat alms food, pichapatiko, or live at the foot of a tree, rukamiriko.
Wow, really austere practices.
Extremely. It goes on, living in a charnel ground, so saniko, dwelling out in the open air, kabalakasik, always staying seated, nasachiko, being content with literally any lodging, yasasantatiko, or eating only one meal a day, ekasaniko.
That's serious discipline.
For sure. But for the asappurisa, what's the refrain?
Let me guess. I do this tough thing, these other guys don't.
Exactly. Leading to
self-praise and putting others down. Same pattern. And the sappurisa's reflection, I assume it's consistent.
Absolutely. They reflect, okay, these tough practices, this discipline, it doesn't in itself cause greed, hatred, and delusion to vanish.
So they maintain their focus on proper conduct, on the core principles. What's so powerful here is the text's unwavering message, isn't it? External acts, even the ones that look incredibly difficult or holy, the ones we might automatically think make someone good.
They aren't the ultimate measure.
No. The core is always that internal freedom from the defilements. These practices, they're means, maybe helpful means for some, but they're not ends in themselves.
And they become a problem if they just feed your ego.
Right. If they lead to that sense of superiority or judgment.
Okay, now this next part, this is where the Buddha really pushes it, I think. Even deep spiritual states, the highest forms of meditation.
Even those are subject to this.
Subject to the exact same test. So the asappurisa will boast, if they attain any of the jhanas, these profound states of meditative absorption.
Right, the different levels of deep concentration.
Yeah, from the first, which is born of seclusion, full of pleasure, all the way to the fourth, pure equanimity and mindfulness. And it doesn't stop there. It applies to the even higher immaterial attainments.
Formless realms. Infinite space, infinite consciousness.
Exactly. Infinite space, infinite consciousness, viñekyetana, even the dimension of nothingness, or that super subtle state of neither perception nor non-perception.
Okay, these are seriously advanced states.
Absolutely. But the asappurisa,
if they get there,
they'll say, I've attained this jhana, this dimension. These others haven't.
And use it to praise themselves and disparage others, even at that level.
Wow.
But here's the really profound insight for the sappurisa, the good person, when it comes to these states.
What do they reflect?
They reflect that even these incredibly deep, profound states, the Buddha called them agamayata, which means something like they're not to be identified with.
Not the final goal. Impermanent.
Exactly. Not the ultimate destination. The text even quotes something fascinating. What
does that mean? Roughly, whatever one conceives or identifies with, from that, it becomes otherwise. It implies that any state you cling to or define yourself by, well, reality is different from that conception.
So the state itself isn't the liberation.
Right. Therefore, the good person doesn't use these incredible attainments, which are often rare, as a basis for self-praise or putting others down.
Because they see it's not the end point.
They recognize the ultimate goal isn't the attainment itself, but the total liberation it's supposed to lead towards.
That raises a really deep question, though. Why would even these highest meditative states be a potential trap, a subtle attachment?
Good question. What do you think?
Well, it seems it's because even these can become a basis for clinging. For a very subtle I am conceit. I am one who attains jhana. I am one who reaches nothingness.
Still defining the self by the experience.
Exactly. The teaching keeps pushing us beyond even these amazing spiritual experiences, right to the root of inner freedom. Is there any subtle identification left with the state or even with the me who is experiencing it?
So after this whole journey through externals, practices, deep states, what does the text say is the ultimate characteristic of the truly good person, the pinnacle?
Well, the text culminates in the highest attainment described for the good person. They go beyond even that dimension of neither perception nor non-perception.
The highest formless state we just mentioned.
Right. They transcend even that and enter what's called the cessation of perception and feelings,
Cessation of perception and feeling. What does that signify?
It's described as the state where, through wisdom, their defilements, asava, are exhausted, completely gone.
So the end of all mental impurities, all suffering.
That's the idea, total purification.
And the text describes this person at this stage. Na kinji manyati na kuinji manyati na kenachi manyati. Can you unpack that?
It's profound. It means something like, they don't conceive anything, they don't conceive in anything, and they don't conceive by means of anything.
Wow, so a complete end to defining oneself, to all forms of conceit.
That seems to be it. There's no longer an I am in relation to anything at all. Not status, not practice, not even the highest spiritual states. It's just gone.
So the ultimate praise isn't for achieving status or wealth or fame.
Or even incredible meditative powers or states.
It's reserved for the one whose defilements are just eradicated.
Yes. For the one who has truly deeply understood and applied the Dhamma beyond any markers of achievement, internal or external, beyond all comparison.
What a deep dive that was. We started off exploring how this ancient text defined good and bad people. And it turned out to be so much less about what you do or what you have.
And profoundly more about your attitude towards it all, especially does it lead to that conceit, that comparison.
Yeah. We saw this incredibly consistent message, didn't we? Whether it's high birth or fame or intense asceticism or even those really deep meditations.
If it becomes a basis for conceit, for praising yourself and putting others down, then it's a pitfall. It's a trap. It doesn't actually lead to real inner freedom.
The true commendation, the real sign of the good person,
comes from that inner transformation, the actual, rooting out of greed, hatred, and delusion.
So this really brings up an important question for you listening right now to maybe reflect on. In your own life, what achievements maybe or talents or even internal states or experiences do you, perhaps, maybe unconsciously, use as a basis for comparing yourself to others?
Or even just for subtle self-praise, that little internal pat on the back that separates you from others.
Right. And how might focusing instead on that inner liberation from conceit, rather than collecting external trophies or even impressive inner experiences, how might that shift your perspective?
Yeah, change your view on what it really means to be, a truly good person in the deepest sense the Buddha was pointing to.